good. How are you?
I'm doing good. You looking real studious.
I mean, I had to come on here and come correct. I
Okay,
heard that
well,
little intro. I was like, I don't want to prove him wrong.
I was trying not to make you sound like no old lady because you're young.
You did, though. And then here I come on here with the hello, how is
How you work this thing, baby?
Right, that's real close. My preview was like way far back.
Right.
That's all right.
But how you doing? How's life?
Life is, doing what life does. You know what I mean? It's ebbing, it's flowing. I think many of us have had like a rougher end to our week, but
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I'm able to make it through it, but I've not lost sight of, the fight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely been a tough week overall, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why even more so appreciate you being here this evening. But if you can, just intro yourself and tell the people who you are, and talk your ish, so to speak.
Hug my ish. Well, I'm gonna start with this. Somebody just asked me like, "Oh, you're going live with your nephew, right?" I gotta be careful with how. Because as I said, we've known each other for a very, very long time, and that's like a
Yeah.
running joke that we've had. But really
Yeah.
great friends for some time. We met at Michigan.
Hmm.
And my story kind of, this phase of it, this chapter of it, kind of starts there. That's where I developed my passion and interest for storytelling.
Hmm.
I saw a void in telling authentic stories, and just like throughout the years, I found myself in Atlanta, and I found out that it was possible. I came back here, worked at the Detroit Police Department, and I found out that it was necessary.
Hmm.
And then when I moved on, to the new place, and then now I just found out that it's mine. You know what I mean? And so started my own company. That was all a part of that. I wanted to tell my own stories. I wanted to put my own spin on it and not, have to fit within the parameters of whomever. And so that was that. So really quick nutshell, but that's about it right now.
Okay, so to get a little bit more specific,
Mm-hmm.
what is your current title, and then what describe the type of work that you do?
Cool. So I was actually just at a PR firm where I was an account executive, managing a number of accounts, press releases, social media, digital content creation. But at the moment, I'm actually doing my own thing. So Sugar Free Digital started picking up. And so now I'm kind of putting that at the forefront of my mind, doing that full force. And again, just lots of digital content and digital storytelling. It's been a lot of promotional content, commercials for TV, social. Yeah, lots of graphics, and just kind of, finding ways to connect companies with their audiences.
That's what's up. Hey, shout out to the entrepreneurship. Can we get some more fire emojis? Get some claps, get some drums in the comments. Go crazy. Shout out to the entrepreneurship, and the guest that we had on last week, my brother Kyle Mackey, also took that leap of faith with his
Mm-hmm.
music and his career, starting his career that
Yeah.
way. So I love to hear stories like this, and people doing their own thing, and betting on yourself and investing in
Mm-hmm.
yourself, more importantly,
Yep.
regardless of how you do it, whether it's full on entrepreneurship or just trying to just figure out the keys and put other people in positions. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely grateful to hear that. So tell us more about Sugar Free Digital. I want to know personally, like, how you came up with the name, because I messed with it. How you come up with the name, and then like what kind of like got you to the point that you're in now.
Cool. So Sugar Free Digital, it came out of a season where I was just kind of saying yes to everything, right? So backtrack a little bit, I was at the Detroit Police Department, and I was telling their stories, and that was great. Great experience, great time, very necessary. But again, I just felt stuck. I just felt like I'm talking from the same voice box every time, and every video started to look the same.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, just in that season of yes, I didn't know that I could do it. I didn't feel like I could do it most of the time. But people said, "Oh, I know you do video. Can you shoot this gender reveal for me?" I was like, "Okay, yes."
Mm-hmm.
Did that. Can you shoot this commercial? Did that. That ends up on TV. You know what I mean? And so it's just kind of out of that season birthed my expectation of what genuine storytelling should look like. And the sugar-free thing came, you call me the auntie. It's that old song, I'm sugar-free.
Okay.
So old, but definitely necessary. So that came from that. And then it's kind of like a play on that song title. So storytelling kind of without the fluff. And so that's kind of like the other side of it when we do the interviews and the more like documentary style stuff, when we get like, really, really in detail about someone's experience and what they want to share with the world.
That's amazing. I love that. I love I love how it all came together, and you were able to take like your
Mm-hmm.
experiences from before, and then be able to put all that into what you're doing now. And then it starting from, people knowing the type of work that you did, and then, wanted you to do it for them selfishly, but you was able to, make an empire out of that. So,
Yeah.
tell us more about like what skills you had to use in order to, or develop, that you didn't have before in order to do what you're doing now.
So I always saw stories being told, whether it's on TV and a movie, and I was just like, well, how? You know that you can record it, but like, how do you get the graphics on there? How do you put it all together? So the very first thing that I learned, I kind of did it backwards. I learned how to edit video first. My mentor at the time, when I first moved back to Michigan, he is a videographer, editor extraordinaire. And so he just gave me a bunch of clips, and he was like, I don't have time to do this. Can you just like find the best clips out of all these clips, put them together, and try to, just tell the story of a behind the scenes dance recital. And so I did that, and I just fell in love with it. So that was the very first thing that I learned how to do. And then I started doing some transcriptions for interviews and things like that. And so I saw how to take out the most important pieces of whatever the content was and string something together. So if it's a recap for an event, I wanted to feel like you were there, even though you weren't. And so just finding the most enhanced elements of every piece of content. So that was definitely a skill. As I move forward, I found that it was important to kind of have that foresight too. So like having creative direction under my belt as well. So kind of knowing what I wanted to look like, and, finding the right ways to interview people, picking the right questions to lead them to prompt them to giving me the correct responses that I need to tell the story that I'm trying to tell. So that was definitely something. Another skill that I definitely had to pick up was knowing when to let go. A lot of times you work with teams, right? And so it's not just going to be your vision. It's a collective. And one thing I learned is that if someone catches it, then somebody else will catch it, one of your viewers. And so I learned to let go of that. You say like you're an artist and you're sensitive about your ish, you know what I mean? It's very true. But I learned very, very early on I cannot do it alone because I don't know everything. I've not experienced everything, And so when I make content, I know that I'm making it for everyone. And so I want to hear from everyone that I can before I put it out. So I think those are top things that I still employ when I create.
And all very important to what you do, of course. You had mentioned mentorship. So like, and I know that's been cause we talk, and that comes up in terms of like how like people have those type of connections, and people that kind of like pull you along the way or help you along the way with in certain aspects of your career. So can you kind of talk about like the mentors that really helped you do what it is that you're doing now, or just in general, like some of the best mentors that you had?
Yeah. So I'll start with Tony Motley. He's the first one who really got me started in the digital storytelling. What he saw in me was, first off, the curiosity. And he just kind of played that up. You know what I mean? It's like it takes a lot to want to sit in front of a computer for hours on end and try to get it right. And really seeing things in me that I couldn't see in myself at certain points, really. And I think that's one of the key factors in mentorship, is being able to pick out the best and the strengths and the interests and the talents, even when you can't see it. Because a lot of times, we're in your 9 to 5 and you have certain expectations placed upon you and certain limitations. Either you put them on yourself or your environment has. And so a mentor, I think an effective mentor is able to pull out the best in you and then give you an opportunity to see it, whether it's through your work or through their feedback or just through different exercises where you can kind of turn that mirror on yourself and see, oh, I'm capable of all these things. And the one thing, I had a mentor when I was in Atlanta, very important. She said, I see a lot of myself in you, that alone, it's very simple. You hear that all the time, but it was very empowering because I'm looking at her like, you're so dope. Like, you're amazing. You're working in Hollywood. You're doing costumes. Like, you're out here. But for her to say that about me, we're not doing the same thing. We didn't have the same track, but it let me know that I had a little bit of that in me, you know what I mean? To achieve those heights that she's seen and that she's enjoyed. And I think that's the key part to mentorship. And another thing is that it's a two-way street too. So finding ways to help them, like, she didn't know how to use her iPhone, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
So it's always like a give and take kind of thing. It's a relationship, you know.
And then how would you like give advice to people to seek mentors? Because I know it's a big thing that a lot of people talk about, like whether it's
Yeah.
at work, like one thing that we're talking about now at work, or that comes up a lot is like mentors and sponsors and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But like, every connection is not meant to be like a full-on mentorship, mentee relationship. But like, what
Hmm.
would your advice be for people to like find mentors or go seek out those people?
You know, one thing I've kind of been meditating on a lot lately is that you can make your world whatever you want it to be. You
Hmm.
know, just I don't know why. It's just always been on my head. And I'm trying to tell everybody that as often as I can. But a cousin of mine, he told me a long time ago, you know, it's really awkward to ask somebody to be your mentor. You
Yeah.
know, it's really awkward to try to go say, I really like those shoes. Oh, well, tell me more about it. You're like, who cares? You know, it's so superficial. But the
Right.
one thing you want to do, I think, is maybe ask them a question or two and then ask them, hey, is it okay, you know, if we keep in touch? And then after a while, you know, you ask them enough questions and you give them enough feedback and you create that back and forth
Hmm.
that we were talking about earlier. Next thing you know, that is your mentor. So whether
Right.
you have a direct label on it or not, that mentorship exchange is there. And
Hmm.
so you can create it. You know what I mean? If I come to you and I'm like, Denzell, tell me a little bit more about that. You've now, you're
Hmm.
mentoring me. And it's not always going to be like a lifelong mentorship relationship. It may not be. It may just be someone in passing or someone that, you know, you work with for a few months or a couple of years or something like that. And then just those little exchanges, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's your period of mentorship. And then also sometimes, you know, don't shy away from just asking people. I've done that as well. But just make sure it's genuine and you have the right
Hmm.
motivation. Mm-hmm.
Right. Right. Don't be out here trying to finesse people and build fake relationships.
Yeah, for what? You know what I mean? Because you don't get anything out of it. I've done that too, you know? I thought it
Hmm.
would be good to have this person in my corner or for her to
Hmm.
have my name in her mouth, whatever it was. But that didn't work out because it wasn't supposed to, you know? So just
Exactly.
like being clear on your motives, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, what about, let's go back to like the creative piece of it. Like, what's your favorite part about creating?
Wow. I think it's like the pre-production part. You know what I mean? When you get to really brainstorm and just like think about all of the things that are possible, you know? I think that's my favorite part. And then you nail it down, you know, to what could work or what you can do, you know what I mean, with the tools that you have and the resources. And then I think my second favorite part is the editing, you
Hmm.
know, because like no matter what you get, you know, or what you plan to get, you still have to make something out of what you have.
Hmm.
And so I found that like at one of my old jobs, we've never had anything. So I was always just kind of making something out of nothing. And that's why I was
Right.
like, oh, I'm out here. You know what I mean? And it
Right.
was like, it would do well. You know, we put it on social media, very well received. The team
Hmm.
would love it. I would love it. I would feel, you know, confident in it. And I, you know, it's just stuff that I got from wherever. You know what I mean? So I think those are my two favorite. So thinking about the possibilities, you know what I mean? Just having like a boundless brainstorm session
Hmm.
and then nailing it down to like that final expression of what you dreamed.
Yeah, and I one thing I do appreciate too, like I didn't even know I liked was when I had to like edit videos for different projects, and
Mm-hmm.
I just realized like I love editing, like just being able to figure out like okay, I'm gonna put this here, I'm gonna move that
Yeah.
there, I'm make this look cool with this transition. Like I really like I can
Mm-hmm.
really get into it. So that's
Yeah.
something that I we share that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a puzzle.
Yeah,
I love
exactly.
it. Yeah. That's
And
cool.
I gotta give a shout out to the OGs. We got Rhonda Fields in the building. Uh,
Rhonda.
Rhonda pulled up, Miriam pulled up. I don't know if she's still here or not, but Miriam pulled up. So yeah, we got some heavy hitters in here tonight.
Oh, wow.
Uh, but
You know,
so we talking about black business and of course like black creatives and stuff like that. Is there any um, like dope partnerships that you've been able to do or have like over the years?
yeah, the biggest one, and I was surprised to get it. It was I did a video with the American Heart Association.
Hmm.
It was their annual Heart Walk. And I'm telling you, I was terrified that whole morning. I left with like the major headache. But I had two cameras, one on my shoulder and one, and I'm like switching back because one didn't take audio. You know what I mean? So I'm like,
Yeah.
I gotta get interviews. But I was just out there and made it work. It was raining. you know, and of course I didn't have like the camera covers at the time, you know what I mean? I just didn't know what I needed.
Mm-hmm.
But that was like, I really just felt like I owned that whole experience, and it was just me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then I covered that entire event by myself, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was probably one of the better experiences that I had, when I knew I'm capable of this, you know what I mean? So I walked away with that, like, my head high, and a nice little check. Not gonna,
Okay.
you know what I mean? That's another thing about it. When you get your first big job like that, like, dang, you know what I mean?
Yeah, let them know. Let them know.
Yeah.
Price going up all 2020.
Yeah, with the tax, yeah.
Yeah, with the tax.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? So you work with, so you're talking about your equipment that you had and stuff like that. For people who are out there trying to make content for whatever reason, or you know, balling on the budget, so to speak, how can you give us some cheat codes on how to make like quality content when you balling on the budget?
Yeah, absolutely. Something that somebody told me a long time ago, one of those, like, you know, incidental mentorship moments. The best camera is the camera you have with you, right? So if you're gonna use your phone, in the first commercial I shot that with my phone. You know what I mean? I had just gotten this phone, this iPhone, and I shot it on that phone. And I had a DJI stabilizer. And that's, you know, it's a bit of an investment, but if you really kind of want to make your videos look a little bit smoother and a little bit more professional, it's something that you can look into. They have them like everywhere now. The mobile one. That's a game changer. And just like playing with the different tools that the iPhone, or I don't know what other kind of phones, you know what I mean? They have these tools within the phone for, you know, the balling on the budget creative. Because we're all essentially storytellers now. If you make any kind of content or any kind of post on your social media pages, we're all producers, right? So they make these tools with that in mind. So don't think that you need to get the most expensive camera or equipment or drones, and even your editing software. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do with iMovie.
Yeah.
There's so many different smaller and cheaper apps and programs that you can use. And again, it's the best tool you have with you is the best one for your project. And even if you have like a grainier look to it, maybe you're doing a period piece. Just consider your cracked camera a filter. You know what I mean? Seriously. And tell that story through that lens. You know, just consider everything. So I mean, don't think that you can't do it, because, you know, I did it, and not to be like, oh, I did it, you can do it too. But what I'm saying is, there's so many different avenues. And then if that's the case, if you want to do something a little bit more elevated, start small, start writing, or start, you know, storyboarding, so that when you do have access to that equipment, then you'll know what to do. Or partner with people. That's another thing I did when I was really getting started, was a lot of bartering, you know. Tons of bartering. So it's to be expected. Get out of that as soon as you can. But it's fun. You know, you build a lot of patience. You build a lot of relationships during that period. But yeah, I think, you know, there's so many ways to get it done these days.
And I had to ask that question because I was literally watching a video, it just popped up on my YouTube, because I watch stuff like that here and there, but it pretty much was talking about how to create, like, be an iPhone creative essentially, and like what pieces you can get that's, you know, budget friendly, that will help you like get to where you're trying to go with your content. And then also, like, when you're talking, I got a homegirl who makes a lot of content, and like literally she does what you said. She uses what she has to her avail. So like she'll record off of iPhone or whatever the case may be, and it can come out like it comes out looking great. But yeah, don't limit yourself to saying I don't have X, Y, and Z, because like you said, you can be a creative with whatever you got. And then on top of that, people have all of the tools and they making trash. So it gotta be good content. It gotta be good content. You got a drone and it's like you don't know what you're doing. Your stuff is not quality. So yeah, it all plays a factor for sure.
Yep, it would be terrible either way. So it starts with you, really. You know what I mean? Also, another thing, because when I was at that other job I was talking about earlier, finding free content like stock photos or stock footage, you know what I mean? So that way they've already done half the work for you. So now all you have to do is put it together. So whether that looks like, you know, just streaming together a quick like visual story or a voiceover. You heard that?
Yeah, I'm like they're running up on you.
no. So yeah, stringing together, you know, like a visual story, or maybe like putting your voiceover on it, or some text on top of it. You know, Canva. This is a cheat
Yeah.
code for real. Canva.
Yes.
That's a cheat code for sure.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a couple questions for you. Kayla wanted to know what story do you want to tell the most right now?
Oh my God! Right now, it's funny that he asked that. I did an interview with my aunt earlier in the summer. It was right around when George Floyd, you know, happened, that moment, and I felt so conflicted because I was going to work every day as if nothing happened. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And well, not going to work, you know, reporting to work virtually. But I had a conversation with her about how she feels in this moment because nothing has changed. She and my family were very involved in the civil rights movement back in the day. Tons of pictures and, you know, just collaborations that they were, you know, privy to.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to know how she felt in that moment, given all of the fighting that she had done throughout the years, you know. And so I have that, and I want to tell that story about hope, or like the loss of hope, and how important hope is now, how attainable hope is now. You know, we talked a little earlier about the end of this week, you know,
Mm-hmm.
what that kind of means to, you know, Black people, Black women. And yeah, so that's the story I think I want to tell next. I was actually kind of trying to storyboard that a little bit before we hopped on. I had some footage that I shot throughout the summer and just kind of, you know, put that together with some like news clips and things like that. So I want to tell a story about, you know, I guess maybe like the potential of hope or the possibility of hope. You know what I mean? Something.
Yeah. And I think that's something that's so needed at times like this, and then especially like you said at the end of this week, which was rough. And then just seeing so many different things in the media that could be triggering, like triggering on top of triggering. And so like I feel like those stories are important to kind of understand like how it's impacting all of us. Because like you said, you interviewed your aunt, and I think that those stories are so important because it also shows you like we've come a long way, but like how far have we really come?
Mm-hmm.
Because just I don't even know what y'all talked about, but I can only imagine like she's like looking at stuff today, like this ain't no different from like when I was your age.
Yeah, that's how it was. And you almost heard in her voice, you know, a loss of a fight. You know what I mean? There was almost like
Hmm.
a sense of defeat there, but not in her efforts, but more so just like, you know, the system, like you're just fighting too big of a monster, if you will.
Right,
That's how
right,
it felt. But it's like, nah, we gotta, you know what I mean? We
yeah,
ended it on a brighter note, of course. It wasn't like, oh God, you know, but
yeah.
I don't know, it was interesting to hear that because I felt so hopeless earlier in the summer, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah, for a couple of weeks there, it was rough.
No, I'm right there with you because it was like it was certain people I couldn't talk to, I didn't want to talk to, I was angry. It
Mm-hmm.
was like tough to just think about like where we like I was disgusted like where we were like in
Mm-hmm.
as a world, as a community, and so forth. And then actually like that time frame kind of made me want to like it kind of I had this idea for Black Fridays like for a minute. I didn't have it fully thought out, but like when the pretty much there was kind of like a call or initiative to do like Black Tuesday, like only patron like Black
Yeah.
businesses and stuff like that. And, I thought about why don't we have something like that more on the lines of a consistent basis. And
Mm-hmm.
we lack like repositories of like Black business, Black owned businesses and stuff like that. So starting to like dig deeper and heavier into that, just because just
Yeah.
from like my network and people that I know and like so many talented people like yourself and that's all around me that's doing their own thing and have been doing their own thing or working in different projects, offer different services. Why
Yeah.
aren't we talking to them more? Why aren't we talking about them more? And
Yeah.
then especially like in the city where we're from, it's not like a pinpoint media access or outlet for those. But it's very important, I think,
Mm-hmm.
especially in this time, for us to like build stronger community as a whole.
Yeah.
And then of course that comes with patroning our own Black businesses. So I kind of segue into my next question and ask you what makes it important for you to support Black businesses, Black creative, Black just professionals.
Mm-hmm. I think changing the narrative, you know, because when you're talking about why we don't talk to Black entrepreneurs or why we don't, you know, shop or buy or eat, there's a stigma, you know what I mean? And I see it every day that we're changing it. But you wouldn't know unless you talk to people who are running their own businesses or who have their own products or services that they provide. You wouldn't know. You just kind of hang on to that one experience that you might have had somewhere, even if it was through someone else, you know? So for me, it's important to do it, obviously, to bring money back into our community that we can circulate and keep. And that's a, you know, whole nother conversation. But it's very important to me, just from like a storytelling kind of standpoint, to own that narrative and shift it in a much more positive direction, because I think this is going to be the future. I know many people experience shifts in their occupation, or, you know, their livelihood, or, you know, their sense of stability during this time. And you see a lot of businesses popping up. But if we maintain that stigma that, oh, like, you're not going to get what you would hope to get from these types of businesses, then we'll never win that battle. And so I think it's important to just kind of shift the narrative.
Absolutely, 100%. And is there any companies that you had, or like people that you had a chance to kind of like work with to shift that narrative, or any like Black-owned businesses?
So I definitely collaborated with a few creative business owners this summer. I have a running relationship with a few of the clothing stores up and down the Avenue of Fashion on Livernois.
Okay.
And so just kind of having them continue their conversation of legacy and sustainability, because they never shut down. You know, they never close. You never hear a complaint about the quality of their products or their service. I started working with, she started her own media marketing company. You know what I mean? And so she's like a self-running machine all on her own. You know what I mean? Very timely, very effective. She has wonderful relationships, and that says a lot about her brand, you know? And so I think that for me, if the consistency is there, you know what I mean, in the relationship, then that's a trusted brand. I think that you buy from people. I'm not necessarily buying your product or your service. I'm buying you. I'm buying into your vision of how a business should be run and how a business should, you know, cater to its clientele and its, you know, its partners. So I've had some really good experiences this summer, and I've been, you know, very, you know, keen and paying a lot of attention to Black-owned businesses in this summer in particular.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's so important, like you said, like the consistency and the brand building, because whereas, you know, every business owner, regardless of what skin color you are, they may be great at what they do, but that might not necessarily be their focal point. And like, you know, making sure that they got consistently good service and stuff like that. 'Cause we've seen businesses on the same strip that have not lasted because of things like that.
Yeah.
So like, you know, that's not everybody's strong suit, but it is very important. It's something that people need to pay more attention to, you know, as a business owner, and recognize like, okay, I might not be the best with this, so let me try to outsource this and have people in the right position in order to help me do this. So I think that that's very key. What you talked about, like to build something lasting and standing, because people do business with people, not businesses.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's a big thing. Yep.
Okay. And what would I know you had talked about working with the American Heart Association, so this might double as your answer for this, but tell us what has been like your best business experience. And then because I want people to know everything ain't always sweet, what has been your worst business experience as well. So if you could let us know about that.
Oh, man, that's a hard one. And I don't want to, you know, talk too bad about anybody that I've worked with.
Yeah, you don't have to say no names. You don't have to say no names.
I would never. I think the best one, again, like you said, was definitely the American Heart Association. Just because, you know, that was the biggest thing that I'd ever done. You know, and it was something that I could really get behind and something I could really connect to. And it just did a lot for me personally. But I think one of the worst ones, this was very, very early on. And they were just kind of getting started too. You know what I mean? They didn't know what they were doing. You know what I mean? They didn't know what they wanted. They weren't clear on anything. I think that they just thought it was cute to start a business. You know, it was just like, oh, let me just do this. I got a little, you know, whatever. And, you know, just the customer service as it related to like the partnership just was not there. You know, there was no clarity. There was a back and forth on the payment. You know what I mean? And that's
that's a no-go. Yeah, that's a no-go.
That's horrible. that's like the one thing that I think I had to overcome, you know, because you have relationships, and it's important to not, you know, conflate a wonderful opportunity with being taken advantage of, you
Right.
know. And when you're just getting started out, you think, oh my God, it's a great opportunity, you know, great visibility, great connections, but not really, you know what I mean? Sometimes you just have to go after those opportunities on your own. So I think some of the worst experiences I've had is when, you know, someone is not being clear with you on how they value you or your work and the partnership thereafter, because it's not worth it. It's not worth that little bit of money to compromise yourself,
Not at
you know.
all. Not at
And that's
all.
a transition. That's a huge transition when you know, okay, I'm worth this, I can charge this, and I can stand on this. I don't have to lowball myself just to get this opportunity, you know? So I
Yep.
think those are some of the worst experiences when I'm shooting and I'm sitting there like, I'm not even getting the money for this, you know?
Right.
Get all these, you know, all these changes and all these requests, and then, you know what I'm saying? So that's I experienced that a lot early on. Now things are pretty smooth, but yeah, early on, you'll run into a lot of it.
Yeah, and it's a lot of people out there that whether they give you $100 or $100 million, they're gonna run you into the ground.
Yeah.
They want it all.
They will. They will. And if you don't stand firm, you know, and, you know, set it up on the front end, you know, contracts and, you know, properly detailed invoices and things like that. If there's no clarity, you'll find yourself, you know, running down that rabbit hole to get that $100.
Exactly. Exactly. I've been there before and I ain't going back.
No, never.
I ain't chasing nobody down for nothing. Like, you know what, you take it. I take the L. Here you go.
Right, that's fine. It's all good.
Right. I had another question for you. Somebody wants to know what's a goal you want to reach before the end of 2020?
The goal I want to reach, the biggest goal I want to reach before 2020 is to get 2 new clients, 2 new consistent clients to take me into the new year. Consistent, established clients and well-paying clients. That's what I want to do. I've got a few now, but since I'm doing it like full time and I can really focus all of my attention on that, that's my biggest goal, is to get like 2 of those long lasting, you know, relationships that I can, you know, carry into, you know, the next phase.
Right.
And now it's full time. It's time to, you know, really get it going. And
Absolutely.
another creative goal is to just, you know, really get back to what I initially said Sugar Free was about. You know, I've gotten off into a lot of commercial stuff, which is great and very necessary. But I really want to get into more of a creative expression lane. You know what I mean? More concept stuff. So.
Okay. I like that. So would that be like a future series potentially? Like you do series or things like that?
It could be, absolutely. I've written a couple of things that I've been a little afraid to, you know, show people and try to, you know, cast and do all that stuff. So I just feel like now I have a new sense of like flexibility, you know what I mean? And a new sense of like creative, like liberation, because I'm not stifling myself. Well, whoever's watching, I don't know. I'm not stifling myself on a day-to-day basis to fit into, you know, business goals of anyone. You know what I mean? So you still have those clients that you have to meet those particular expectations. But for myself and fulfilling, you know, the dream and the reason why I started and said yes to Sugar Free. So if I can reconnect with that moving forward, I think that would be another huge creative goal for me this year.
Absolutely. I love it. That's dope. If you need any hip rollers or jitters, let me know. I
You will
might
be
send them your way.
first. You'll be first. Oh, I thought you were offering your services on that one.
Well, you know, anything is negotiable. Anything is negotiable.
Relationships.
Right. Exactly. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. What advice would you have for other Black businesses and professionals? It could be in general or in regards to your field. Like, what advice would you give them?
No limits. Dream with no limits. Like I said earlier, like you might have to kind of tailor it down and think about what's feasible and what's possible, but dream with no limits. Don't sit down and do your planning with the mindset like, well, that won't work. I can't do that. And if it does come into your mind, start another column. Like, how can I do that? You know, in spite of these things, you know, that made me think that I couldn't do it. You know, some of the most successful companies, you know, were told that they couldn't do something. But the fact that, you know, they found a way to do it, that's what's, you know, giving them the longevity and the success. and the sustainability that they enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would definitely say that know your worth. Know your worth. And even if you have to
Hold on,
kind
wait.
of
Can you repeat that? Repeat that for the people in the back, please.
know your worth. Know
Oh,
your worth.
thank you.
Yeah, you know, even if you have to kind of maybe take a few of your services away or out of the package, so that someone can afford, you know, to enjoy your services, keep that in mind. But never, never, never settle, never compromise. And if I knew that from the beginning, I think that would have just been a game changer, you know? So you have packages, right? So whatever your service is, think about like the basic, the standard, and the best, or, you know, whatever it is. Just find ways to satisfy the goals of your clients without compromising, you know, your worth, your talent, or your time. Your time is your money, and a lot of times when we're first getting started. What else? Oh, yeah. So without the limits, don't think that if someone else is doing it, you can't do it. You know,
Right.
you can always either do it better or just find another way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I got right now. It's getting late. I'm sorry.
No, that's good. That was great. That was great. I got some creative friends that's watching. I think they're still watching. So I hope that they, you know, they're getting in some great nuggets because they're great in their own right too. So I hope that this is fruitful for them because I know that they always looking to improve. So I got some fun questions. So we're gonna do this or that. I did not send you these.
You didn't.
On purpose. Because I need to know your true and honest answers. So this is gonna help us know you a little bit better. So very simple. You got two options. You cannot. There's no combining. You got to pick one or the other. There's no other options. It's one or the other.
Okay.
All right. So love or money?
Love.
Really? Okay. All right. That's what's up.
You surprised?
Shout out to love. No, I'm not.
Shout out to love.
I'm not surprised. Yeah. I'm not surprised.
You know.
That makes sense. That's
on brand.
Money or fame?
Money.
Okay. You already famous.
No, come on now.
Would you do coffee or tea?
Tea.
Tea. Okay. Boat or plane? Because I know you like the finer things in life. So how you like to travel? Boat or plane?
Travel. I'm not traveling on a boat, but I mean, I'll take a boat over a plane any day, though.
Okay.
Yeah. I like to travel. By boat.
You know, I don't know how them Detroit yacht clubs be, so.
Tight.
TV shows or movies?
Ooh, TV shows.
TV shows, okay.
Yeah.
IG or Twitter?
IG.
IG.
I'm so scared of Twitter. I ain't been on Twitter since, you know, Markley. I ain't been on Twitter.
I love Twitter. I love Twitter with a passion.
I get on there every once in a while. It's like double dutch. You know, you can like, and I gotta get right back out of there because I don't know what it is. Something about it is so weird to me.
It's so ghetto and I love it.
Very ghetto.
I love it. I love it. Comedy or drama?
Comedy.
Comedy, okay.
Yeah.
Phone calls or text?
What kind of text?
Phone calls or text?
Phone calls.
Phone calls, okay.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What kind of text?
I'm just saying what we're talking about. You know, because if the text could lead to being in person, I would take that over the phone call.
Oh, okay.
A lot of times a phone call is like because you can't be in person.
Right. So you would if the text is setting something up, then that's fine. But you don't want to be texting all day.
No.
Like conversation.
Conversation wise. Yeah, don't send me pages. Like feelings by the foot, I don't want it. But like I can get on the phone. You know what I mean? At any point, I love being on the phone. You know what I mean? I got my AirPods now. I'm just like, great. But like other than that, no. I don't want to be texting all day. Not pages of text anyway.
I got you. So do not be sending Jen the long blue bubble. She's not having it.
I won't read it. I just won't read it. It'll look like an affront, you know what I mean? To my I'll feel attacked and I won't read it. You can be like telling me anything. I'm like,
Luckily, I've only gotten a few of those in my life, but I digress.
They're tough.
Apple, Apple or Android?
Apple.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know. You gotta ask people.
You should know. You see how clear this picture is? Just kidding. Because my phone is actually really old, so I didn't want to be like this. I already told myself.
All right, so I feel like this is a good one, and I want to know where you land on this spectrum.
Okay.
Girlfriends or insecure?
Girlfriends, and I'll tell you why. Because
Talk to me.
insecure is still building.
Okay.
We know the impact of girlfriends already. You know what I'm saying? Girlfriends walked so insecure can run.
Yes.
I have never had the opportunity to like do that, like say that, but it's true though. So I think maybe, once Insecure runs its course, that's going to become like one of those all-time classics, to me anyway, like Girlfriends is. But for right now, it's still Girlfriends.
I feel like shows that make anything divisive, classic. Like that's what Insecure had. Like Insecure would have people at work like arguing, like, nah, you would have you telling your friends like you and Molly, like blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Like it's that type of show. And Girlfriends would be like, I hate Tony, but Joan ain't no better. Like me rewatching it myself, I'm like, dang,
you
Joan
see how trash they all
were. Yeah, all of them had they trash tendencies, and it was like that's what made the show. But I think
your
that
friend group.
Exactly. And I didn't realize how young they were either. Like,
I didn't either.
Yeah, when I looked up, I'm like, wait, y'all my age on this show that I am now, and I'm like, dang, is this really like factual? And I'm like, damn, it makes sense.
Yeah, it all checks out now.
Right.
I love that
show. So if anybody got any questions for Jen, please drop them in the chat. So at this point, pretty much freestyling, but want to get your or let people know what can we expect next from you? Like, what's something big that you're working on, or something that you want to get going soon?
I think the thing that I talked about earlier, the thing with the interview with my aunt, that's something I definitely want to get started on ASAP. And I'd like to say, just stay tuned for more authentic content from me that's coming directly from me, because like I said, now I think I have a little bit more of that flexibility to do that, as opposed to like just being stuck in the lane. You get to choose your lane now, but I want to let people know who I am creatively a little bit more directly.
And then what medium do you think you'll use to do that? Like, or do you plan to do more stuff for your social media, or maybe like are you going to create like a YouTube channel, or like how do you plan on doing that?
I want to do some more stuff on social. I've taken a lot of my stuff off social just because I felt, I just been going through some changes, and I just kind of wanted to redirect how I was showing up on social, as though it's that important. But I'd like to do more short form content there, and then the longer form stuff, I do want to put it on YouTube. So trusting myself, like I said, with some of those scripts I have. So even if it's not the full script, maybe like a scene here, a scene there. You know what I mean? Just like testing. Because a lot of times, I find myself to be like creatively shy too. Don't do that. So I want to, definitely break down those barriers and challenge myself to put more so of me on social, whether that's IG or YouTube. I don't put anything on Facebook, so don't. I don't know why.
I was gonna say, like, how do you feel? How is it for you as a creative, like creating stuff because I know you do like videos and stuff like that for people, but like making that type of more so long form content for different purposes, and then making stuff for social media. Like, what's the differences for you?
Well, I'm kind of long-winded with my videos. Like a lot of times when I was first getting started, it was just way, 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 way too long because I didn't know how to cut out the fluff. So like sugar-free, right? Cutting out all the sugar. But that's the difference. When you're doing long-form content, you can let it breathe a little bit more, Like your transitions don't have to, tell the story for you. The pauses can, or like, the elongated like conversations and the moment can last a little bit longer when you're doing long form content. And I've only had an opportunity to do that a few times, but again, it was never like my own vision. I was bringing somebody else's life, which is also very valuable. But the opportunity to do that on my own, like I can't wait to be brave enough. You know what I mean? I can sit down and do your thing and tell your story all day long, but when it's mine, I'm like, oh man, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I think that's the biggest difference is that with Instagram, and you know, even with Instagram TV, you still have to be a little bit more abbreviated than
Yeah.
you would on like a YouTube or even Facebook, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just been my experience to kind of, you know, let it drag out a little bit, you know, be a little bit more dramatic. So I'm looking forward to more opportunities to do that for sure.
Absolutely. And I know you'll get it done. So I'm looking forward to seeing it, and I'm sure the rest of the people on here and the rest of the people of the world, you know, you gotta get the people what they want. So we ready.
Got to. That's the plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell everybody where they can find you, how they
Mhm.
can get in touch with you if they want to use your services or if they
Absolutely.
want to holler at you. Give them your info.
Definitely. Right now, the best place to reach me is on IG, JENN_Watson, WATSON_. You can find me there. You can find your way to my sugar-free page from there as well.
Beautiful. Couldn't have said it
Mm-hmm.
better myself. Well, Jen, I appreciate you. I know we coming up on time, and IG shut you down after an hour, but I always appreciate you. It's always wonderful talking to you. I always
Definitely.
learn something new. Appreciate you stepping into Black Fridays, and definitely more power to you and everything that you got going on. And looking forward to seeing Sugar Free blowing up and having your big agency in downtown Detroit. So,
Yes, let's speak it. Let's speak it.
yeah,
Love
yeah,
it.
there we go. Just nothing but positive vibes. So yeah,
Yes.
more power to you, and definitely we'll catch up with you soon because you know that we got to do that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And just want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Appreciate y'all showing love and support. Black Fridays. We'll be back next week with another wonderful guest, another wonderful talent. So this has been Black Fridays, and signing off. I'll see y'all later.
Bye.
Thank you.